Hi, I'm Harley. Tonight on Harley's Sleepytime Cinema Selection, I am watching Cujo, which came out in 1983. Oh, baby bat girl. She is not having this today. Hold on, let me see if I can put a bink in her mouth real quick. Because then we'll be quiet and happy, huh? Yeah. There we go. There's a good girl. All right. So, Cujo came out in 1983. It is a movie based on a novel by Stephen King. It's actually a novel that he doesn't remember writing. In interviews that I've read with him, he admits that this was in some of his most drunken heyday, and so he doesn't really remember a lot of the story of writing the story. But this is one of the movies that was adapted from a book that he actually does appreciate. It was written, he thinks the inspiration for it was a mechanic that he took his motorcycle to get repaired by, had a giant Rottweiler that kind of freaked him out, and he kind of went home and came up with this story. It does star Dee Wallace as Donna, who is the mom, and Danny Pintaro, who plays Tad. He went on to become the boy in Who's the Boss, the TV show. And what's funny is he admits that this movie was very confusing for him as a child to film, because there were times when there were real St. Bernards, there were times when there was men dressed up in St. Bernard suits, there were times when there was other dogs dressed up as a St. Bernard to play this dog. Mostly it was Rottweilers and St. Bernards that were used, but a couple of times I think they did use some German Shepherds because they needed dogs to perform certain tasks. And to train a dog to do a task, not all dogs can perform the same task on cue. Some are really good at, say, fetching or that kind of thing. Sometimes you want a dog to look aggressive without actually being aggressive, and that can be a really hard task to get a dog to do, because that distinction is very hard for them to make. And what my wife does in her experience with dog training and that kind of thing, she has had a lot of insight into this film for me. Also, I thought it was funny, if you watch the movie, you can see the times when the dog is supposed to be looking very aggressive and attacking and that kind of thing, but at times you can tell that they're happy because their tail is wagging, like they're like, I did a good job. And so I thought that was pretty funny, because it kind of took me out of it, but I can see how if you weren't watching for that, you may not notice it. Overall, let me preface by saying I really enjoy Stephen King stories. This one in particular, I liked as a younger person more. When I rewatched it recently, it really made me angry, actually, because I guess as a mother now, I cannot imagine sitting in a car for 2.5 days, while an aggressive, rabid dog is hanging out outside my car. So basically, let me back up a little bit. The premise of the story is that there is this woman who has a car that's really run down. It needs repairs, and to save money, they go to a local neighbor who fixes things. His dog has been bitten by a bat that was infected with rabies, so the dog has now come down with rabies. It's killed everybody in its home, and now as she pulls up to try to get her car repaired, the dog runs out and attacks her car. So her and her son are trapped in their car. This is in a time before cell phones. I know that seems crazy, but you couldn't just, sit in your car, pick up the phone, and call 911. You had to actually make it to a phone that plugged into a wall, even. So she is sitting in her car and really has no idea what to do. Now, I'm more of a planning type person. I have a plan for everything. So in watching this, the whole time I'm wondering, why doesn't she go for the crowbar? That's got to be in her car somewhere. I mean, almost every car that I can think of, back to this point, I should say, I mean, in the 80s, cars came with spare tires, they came with jacks, they came with crowbars, so that you could do all of those things. Even if you could just find the jack to your car, you could use that as a weapon. So I want to see her do more. And I found myself getting really, really frustrated that she's just sitting there while her son is scared and thirsty and hungry. And she tries to console him, and I appreciate that. But I just found myself getting really, really frustrated that she doesn't do more. And I understand that not every woman can do more. I mean, I'm pretty tall. I'm 5'9", so I mean, I'm pretty imposing. To a dog that's 100 pounds, I wouldn't be that afraid. Now, I understand that somebody who's maybe 5 foot, 5'2", 5'5" even, which is more of the American average, would find a bigger dog like that a lot more imposing, and it could be more of a threat. To me, I can see myself taking on that dog, and yes, I would probably get terribly injured, but I could distract it long enough that my son could run into the house and be safe. He could, get in, lock the door, be inside, call the police, get a glass of water, get a drink. He could hide himself in the house, I think, effectively enough. I could fight the dog effectively enough to make sure that he was safe. And I guess I'm willing to take that on. I mean, that's just me. I would in a heartbeat give my life to save my kids' lives if that's what it came down to. So I don't know. Watching this was very frustrating, but I do appreciate that not everyone can do that. So this movie, it was good to watch. It was good to rewatch, I guess, because I hadn't seen it in a long time. And I did remember liking it a lot as a younger person, and now my circumstances have changed. So it was interesting to see that and how my opinion has changed. If you haven't watched this movie in a while, or if you've never seen it before, you should go check it out. It is a good movie. It's not terribly long. There are other things that annoy me about the movie that I could discuss, but I try to keep these videos kind of short, and this one is going on, so I'm going to cut it right here. But if you want to hear my other opinions, I will be happy to discuss those in the comments with you. Make sure to let me know what you think of the movie. Give me a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed, make sure to hit that button, and make sure to hit that notification bell so you can see when these videos are ready to watch. And I will talk to you all real soon. Bye!